What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for joining me with Buzzing with Marlo live, live, live. I say it again, live. I am doing so magnificently well, guys. Christmas has finally got behind us and stuff now. Now it's time to enjoy the new year. Only imagine what's going to happen now. Only imagine what's going to happen now. I mean, 2020, we were shut down, nothing going on. 2021, we're slowly rising back. Now we're at 2022. Lord only knows what's going to happen next. We're almost to that cracking break of dawn, guys. So we will literally find out very, very soon. Hopefully, COVID, bye. Hopefully, all that's out of our head and whatever and just flies off. I mean, I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a great week, a great day. It is Fridays, ladies and gentlemen. That means it is time to build yourself up for the weekend. Um, a little bit about what's going on this weekend, guys. I gotta work. Luckily, I work 3 days a week. Uh, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I'm off Tuesday through Friday. So I'm basically with my daughter and doing this lovely podcast in at the same time. So literally, I'm very, very busy on during the week. So when the weekend comes, I go play flag football, relax a little bit, and then I go straight to work and work a night shift. So luckily, that's really how my schedule goes, guys. Also, I want to let everybody know about our awesome merch. Um, we have on the Bonfire store for Buzzing with Marlo, we have some awesome looking things. Here's a little bit of an example. We have the hoodies. You can get white, pink, white, I think baby blue and black for the hoodies. I have the white hoodie. It is amazing. We also got the V-neck shirts, ladies and gentlemen, and you have so many options on colors as well. We also have the baseball tee ones, man. These I really like. My son really enjoys this one. We have them in kids as well. And we also have the classic long sleeves. Those have been our very popular ones right now. And also, ladies, we also have the Razorbacks for the ladies, man. To rock them off at the gym or wherever. I mean, it's the hot weather in Florida, man. I mean, can't go wrong with those nice little tank tops. Also, my personal favorite, the all black V-neck that I rock at the gym a good portion of times. And also, you can find out more colors with the V-neck as well. And obviously, I told y'all about my favorite one, the white one. Yes, I love this one very, very much. So, yes, go check them out at the Bonfire store for Buzzing with Marlo merch. The link will be below. Check it out. Also, we are doing an exclusive where you do the promo code BUZZ20. You get 15% off of all your purchases on the Buzzing with Marlo merch store. So, guys, check it out. I know the holidays is slowly gone now, but I mean, people still need the clothes, man. Rock some Buzzing with Marlo merch, man. We're growing and it's being an amazing, amazing thing. All right, guys, we have had such a wonderful year. I mean, Spotify, thank y'all. Shout out to y'all for the results that y'all have gotten from Play Wise right now. It's been amazing, amazing. 5 different countries now are listening to Buzzing with Marlo every week. That is insane. We obviously we're on the main platforms. Here's our main platforms. We have Anchor, we have iHeartRadio, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have you know it. You know it. You know it. You know what? We'll just do them with all that other sides, whatever. But obviously, we have it with Spotify as well. I guess I cannot find the logo. My bad. But it's on Spotify as well. Those are the main platforms, and also we have it on Buzzsprout, and the list goes on, and many, many more. But guys, I just seriously want to say thank y'all. I mean, this year has been crazy. We have done so well with this podcast. I could not thank y'all more enough. I mean, it's just been really awesome. We now have our merch store, like I keep saying a lot, but it's just been a blessing. We also have our YouTube channel, guys. Check us out. Like, subscribe to Buzzing with Marlo on YouTube, man. It's being a huge hit. We are getting more and more plays. We are now almost at 50 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. That is a big deal for me. Starting out this YouTube page just from scratch to build this thing up. I mean, I'm just appreciative of whoever subscribes and whoever supports us, man. And also, guys, if y'all show some support on the Instagram page, whatever, And if I see it, guys, I'm going to appreciate it and I'm going to post it and give you a shout out. That's literally how I am. I literally am going to appreciate anything and everything y'all do for me. Man, it's truly a blessing. But guys, I'm done babbling on. So guys, today I've got an awesome, awesome guest today. Today, guys, I got an author of a guy that made this wonderful book called Fullback. This is actually a story based off of him. His name is Larry the Tank Perdue, guys. I am so excited about having this chat with him. We're gonna talk football, obviously, guys. That's an awesome, awesome book. I mean, let me tell y'all right now, guys. I just finished reading this, and by far, what an amazing job that Larry did with this book. By far, one amazing job with this book. We're going to have a lot of questions about some of the stuff that I read in this book and stuff like that. So, guys, I'm not going to waste any more time. So, when the countdown goes from 30 to 1, I will be joined with Larry the Tank Perdue. And the countdown, ladies and gentlemen, starts right now. All right, guys, I'm joined with Larry the Tank Perdue. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. I know I'm in a hot area, man. You look pretty bundled up and stuff, man.
Man,
Where you at right now?
I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's pretty cold. It's very cold. It's about 23 degrees right now. And yeah, I have to stay bundled up. Yep.
Hey, man, as long as you can stay as bundled as possible, man, I give you props, man, because cold weather and me just don't click together.
Hey.
I work in a freezer on weekends and stuff, and that's cold enough for me. Like I get all the cold that I need in there. It can get like to almost like I think negative 15 degrees or something in there, and I'm just like, that's it. That's all I need.
Oh,
For 3 days and that cold, I'm good. I ain't got to worry about nothing else.
the wind chill here can get even lower than that. You know, the wind chill, it can feel like it's negative 30, negative 20. You know, where it's almost dangerous.
Oh man,
you know, it can get pretty cold out here in Wisconsin.
Oh man, are you born and raised in that area, or did you move around?
Born. I moved to California at age 12.
Okay.
And I kind of bounced around for 3 years. 3 years in California. I moved to Chicago, then back to Milwaukee. Kind of well traveled. My younger years, I was.
So you kind of alternated a little bit. You went from California, cold, and then even more cold.
Right. We went from spring cold to beautiful weather, palm trees, and back to the hawk. The windy even colder. Yes.
Oh man.
For some reason, Chicago even gets colder.
I know. When you said you went from California to Chicago, I'm like, oh man, maybe you like the cold weather.
Wow. I guess I'm just a Midwest guy. I don't know. I love California though. I did. I loved California when I was there.
How long did you live in California again?
3 years.
Okay.
3 years, almost 4. Yeah. My junior high school years, my sophomore year of high school. My freshman year of high school.
Hey, so you got to live it out. I mean, so you got to live in California actually around when you were in high school and stuff like that. So you got to enjoy California in ways too, because I mean, when you're young, it's saying, yeah, you've been to California, whatever. But when you're actually a little bit of the age, you actually can see what's around in California and stuff like that. I've heard numerous good things about area over there in California, except everything is so expensive. But that's what happens, I guess.
Right. It's so beautiful though. The weather, everything is just beautiful.
Hmm.
I have not enough not enough to say about California, and I look forward to going back. I look forward
Hey,
to
I
visiting
like it.
soon.
All right, Larry. So we know you a Wisconsin boy and stuff like that. So tell us tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Okay, well, uh, my name is Larry Perdue. I'm a football coach, high school football coach here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Almost 20 years now. Um, and pretty much wrote this book as therapy for myself because I noticed that, realized that throughout my high school football career, I had a lot of situations that prevented me from seeing my full potential. And
Hmm.
as the years go on, and I coach high school, and I coach these kids, and I would see the seniors when they're on their way out, and I see the looks on their faces, and it's like, is this it? And yeah, you
Hmm.
come to that final realization that, yeah, this, for most of you guys, this is it. For pretty much 85% of you guys, yeah, you probably never put
Hmm.
pads on again. This is it, for the guys that really love the sport. And um, it just, seeing that every year, along with having the ill feelings about my high school career, I just decided to write this as therapy. And I also realized that as I was writing it, it can also be inspiration to other kids,
Hmm.
because I really love the sport, especially when I was introduced to it in high school. I really fell in love with it,
Hmm.
and it changed my life in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
But at the same time, there were a lot of situations going on in my life that prevented me from having the stability that I needed to realize my potential.
Yeah. I will say the book that he is talking about, guys. This book right here is called Fullback. Um, I literally just finished reading it today, and Larry, I gotta say, first and foremost, what a cycle that you had to deal with going through stuff like that. And actually, one thing I've noticed when I've talked to authors in the past and stuff, when they have to write about something that's very traumatizing in ways for them, it's hard to go back and really relive everything that you have done to make that book to what it is, because you had to go back into like some real deep dark areas
Yeah,
to get that book to be what it is. And I'm honestly going to say that was a true inspiration. I
appreciate it.
I loved how the personification, how you said about kids with seniors and stuff like that. We've had this numerous times, and I've literally just, I don't know if you've seen on my Facebook, whatever, but I just now had witnessed my friend from now today was just a year. Last this week was just a year when my friend passed away. One of my best friends, literally, I mean, a big gentle giant, man. The dude was literally a blessing to somebody to come in my life.
Right.
And
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
and crazy thing is he had his birthday like 2 days after, so it was like literally something like really hard for us to deal with. But when you sat there and said, "This could be it. This is the last time you could possibly put your pads on," and it hit me in Wales because when we were our senior years, whatever, we didn't think of it all being this is it. This is all what we're gonna be. Obviously, all the guys we all jocks in general. I mean anybody, but jocks in general is just like, yeah, we're gonna figure a way to get back in pads. If we gotta go to
Yeah.
semi, whatever, we're gonna go to junior college or something like that. It
Yeah.
it doesn't hit people until they realize it is over.
It's
When I
over.
realized basketball was done for me, I didn't know how to do it. I did not know how to take it because I mean I was pretty decent in high school and I had a very nice little reputation for what I'd done in high school. But when I went to college and stuff, man, I'm not even 6 foot tall. I'm not jumping and dunking and stuff like this.
Right.
So I had to have that realization, like, this might not work for me. As long as I mean, I walked on the team one night, but still, I didn't get a lot of playing time. I didn't get a lot of stuff. And then when I realized, like, when it was it, I'm just like, man, like
Yeah.
all those countless times, like I was in my backyard shooting a ball, shooting until I could not see the ball or the goal at nighttime. It
Exactly.
just makes you realize, like, man, like, did I do enough? Did I put in enough work to get what I needed? I mean,
Right.
I wasn't a real bad kid. I literally was a guy that literally I had my little social circle, and then I played in sports. Like those were my real serious factors. Like I literally was focused on, okay, I had friends, but they had to be something with this too to keep me
Right.
on my goal, keep my eyes on the goal and stuff like that. And needless to say, I made it to college, but that was it. But
Yeah.
you don't get that realization until it's done. It's over. And then you get into those, and I mean honestly, it could eat you up. It could really eat you up in the, like when
Yeah.
you go see somebody that you played in high school with and you knew you were probably better than or whatever, but you see them make it to the next level and make it to the
Exactly.
NFL and stuff like that. It just makes
Yeah.
you just like, man, maybe if I put more effort, I probably could have done the
Right.
same thing.
You know, if
And
I
then
had those opportunities,
it
you know.
makes you feel like, man, like, oh man, I could have done this or done that. And I mean, it can affect you in so many different ways. People don't realize that's where a build of the mental health and stuff like that happens. And like I remember just from the opening of your story where you were talking about you were a big kid and stuff, and people literally assumed you were going to be a certain position,
Yeah.
and they were like, "That's what you're going to be. You're going to be that guy." And then in your mind, you're just like, "I'll do the best I can." I
Right.
mean, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what you want out of this. I learned something else, but okay, I will try this. I will do what you need me to do.
Right. Not
And
even interested at that time. Didn't even know anything about football. You know, at that age, of course.
exactly. You were a
You
basketball kid, I think, right? Right? You were liking
know,
basketball, right?
yeah, I love basketball. Love basketball. But you know, first thing people would say is, "Oh, you're a football player." I'm like, I never played football ever. As no organized football. I played street football, of course, but
hmm
never played organized football until high school.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
never played organized football until like I say my eighth grade year. My
okay,
eighth grade year, I really started to play organized football, and then obviously I started way too late because when you get to that high school level, it's fun, but oh my gosh, they wear it out of you. Like literally, if you don't love it, you're not gonna stick with it.
yeah,
And I saw it as like how everybody does, man. You go, you play on the football team, you're obviously gonna get the girls and stuff like that. So I'm like, can't go wrong, man. You're getting free
right,
merch all the time. You get little incentives like teachers are nicer to you and stuff like that because you're on the football team and stuff like that. But I wasn't like invested in football.
right,
And I had all my friends, they played all football. I mean, they got me to play because I didn't want to. Because I was just like, I like the games, but nobody likes going to
right.
practice.
Yeah, you
Nobody
know,
likes going to practice.
either with football, it's like either you play it because you love it, or you play it because your friends are on the team. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Gotta have something to do after school's off.
exactly, you know, and I joined because my friends were on the team. But once I joined, and actually my initial, and I talk about this in the book, my very first practice, I quit. It's like you said, it was like, wow, the conditioning just this is crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
never went through conditioning that intense before. But I was taught to come back the next day, and the next day something clicked. The next
Mm-hmm.
day something clicked. I just fell in love with it, and just I was like, okay, I'm going to make it through Hell Week, and I'm going to go ahead and keep playing. Yeah, it takes a certain kind of, for a lot of my friends say, a certain type of crazy to play football.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because I mean it's like high school. I think it builds you up to get prepared to know, hey, do you really want this, or are you just doing it just to be there type scenario?
Right.
And I mean, high school is like college, in my opinion. Like you eat, sleep, and live this sport. Like literally, that's all you did. And I was a basketball guy. I wasn't focused on that. Like I had offers to go play basketball and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm gonna stick with that. And then when I remember when I told my college football, I told the high school coach, and he's like, "You're throwing your life away." I was like, "What? What? What do you mean I'm throwing my life away?" You'll see what I'm talking about. And literally, I go to play the basketball team, and I find out basketball ain't gonna happen much longer for me. And I'm just like, "What the heck? Like what? Okay, cool." And then like it was just a rocky junior year, so that's why I had to walk on FAU because my junior year I didn't play basketball. I didn't play any sports that time. And my senior year obviously it was okay, whatever. I mean, we just had that mindset, oh, it's just another year or whatever. None of us had that click and it was like, this is it. Like we might not go back to school or something like that. We don't
Right.
realize stuff like that. And now me at 30, I've realized so much now. And it's just like, dang, man, I wish I could have done something
Could
different
have
in
did some
ways.
things
Like
different,
I've seen guys that I've seen guys that like I've played on the court with and stuff. Now I'm watching on national TV and stuff like that. I've seen guys that I've played football with now playing at college level and played in the NFL now. So it's crazy to see like the lifestyles that we see now from just different perspectives of people and seeing what it had to take for people to get to that level.
Yeah.
And like it says, man, you got it. I play flag football now, which is funny because I've went from college basketball, being a full time dad,
Yeah.
um, playing a little bit in semi pro just because I just wanted a hobby to do, and then going into the world of professional wrestling and go there for 6 years, where you were talking about your first day being hell. That was hell for me. Let's put it this way. A wrestling ring does not a trampoline. I will say that now because I thought that mindset. I'm thinking, oh, they got springs and stuff. Absolutely not. That shit. No, no, sir.
It looks so fun. It looks so fun.
Oh, it's an absolute blast. It's an absolute blast. But man, when you first start out and those bumps, I'm just sitting like, what in the hell am I thinking? Like I'm looking at all the other guys. I'm like, why the hell are we doing this? Like, what is going on with us? Like, I give respect to the. I know why The Rock went to the movies. This shit right here.
It's crazy. I have a nephew that used to train MMA, and yeah, he told me, hey, this is the ultimate condition.
It's a different game, man.
It is the ultimate conditioning.
The cardio just for anything. Like you could be in the best shape of your life, and you go run these ropes or like how MMA and stuff, man. They beat the living dog crap out of you.
Wow.
Like I've seen it, man. I've seen some guys that look way better in shape than me, and I mean I could run circles around them in the ring. And then I've seen a guy MMA wise, like, oh, I'm just gonna try MMA like a Marine, and he got his butt handled by a guy that was like 120, soaking wet, like throwing this guy around like he was like 300 pounds. I mean, the dude was like a good 220 or something like that, and you literally getting thrown around by a 120-pound guy just because he knew what he was doing. And I mean, it's a different mentality, and that's the same thing with football. Like you got to have what we call in our flag football thing is you have to have that dog out of you.
Yes.
Because if that dog ain't there, bruh, you ain't doing nothing.
That dog ain't gonna get off the field. Stay away from the field. That dog is not stay away from the field.
I think in here, did you actually play college ball or did you?
No college ball, and that was my goal. My goal was to earn a scholarship. or at least earn an offer from to come on D2 or D3, and I
Right.
just didn't. I wasn't stable enough. I didn't stay at one program
Mm-hmm.
to do anything to reach my potential. Basically, I went to 4 high schools, 5 high schools,
Wow.
because of constantly having to move because of my personal, my family situations and things of that nature. But yeah, that was the issue. Once I got back to Milwaukee, um, as I talk about in the book, um, I started my junior year, the second half of my junior year, off at a school
Mm-hmm.
that I was forced to go to because that late in the year you have to go where whatever schools are open for enrollment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna play at this particular school. Went to a summer camp with these guys that was sponsored by the Badgers and had a great camp. And the head coach was, pretty gassing me up. Hey, you're gonna be our guy this year. Stay ready. And then the camp comes in. I'm just totally unprepared for it, and it's basically due to poverty, due to not having the resources that I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I go to my first day of practice, which is muddy in the rain with worn out basketball team
Oof.
shoes on because I can't afford cleats. And I had a terrible
Mm-hmm.
practice. And after the practice, he was like, "We want to put you on the line." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what about?" Well, first of all, coach, I don't have great shoes. I need cleats. And what about the dial camp? And he's like, nah. Uh, and knowing your potential, you're like, I can't accept that, and I also state in the book where there are a lot of kids who are like, hey, if you love the sport so much, you'll play wherever the coach puts you at, and I love
Mm-hmm.
kids that have that attitude, but for some reason, like I said, I was raised to be a fullback. Like I heard it ever since I was a kid, and prior to prior to moving back to Milwaukee, I had proven myself to my teammates and my coaches at other programs. So I wasn't going to allow myself um, to pretty much be moved to the line when I knew I had
Mm-hmm.
a lot more potential. But at that point, I was so sick of going from program to program, dealing with the issues of once I get stable, all of a sudden I have to move again because of certain situations, and
Yeah.
it got so frustrating that I was just ready to just let it go. And
Mm-hmm.
I went to summer school. I had to go to summer school because of all the moving. It was difficult track to track my credits for graduation. So I had to go to
Mm-hmm.
summer school, and I went to Marshall Summer School, and I met some guys on the football team there, and I met the head coach there, and it was like, come here, come here. So I transferred. In those days, you were able to transfer and play right away. Here in Milwaukee now, if you transfer, you got to sit out a year.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I was able to transfer and have my struggles, but I had a good year. But it wasn't like it wasn't a blowout year where I had colleges coming from all over,
Mm-hmm.
checking for me. It was just another year of struggle and the final year where I realized, hey, the dream is over. The dream is over,
Yeah.
and I talk about how I struggled with it, afterwards for a while. I hated the sport, didn't like football, didn't One thing I always did though was kept lifting weights. Certain things about football, there's a football to me promotes self-discipline. You
It
know,
does.
it can really turn you into a better person. It has qualities similar to the military. You know, where
It
they
teaches you to have a tough skin, and you need it around these days. Like honestly, like the way stuff is, I mean, I give my dad a lot of crap. Like my dad was real tough on me. Like my dad was not a jock character, but when you saw him around my friends and stuff, people thought he was like a damn all state linebacker or something like that. My dad did wrestling and chess. I am not making that up. That is what my dad did.
that's,
And
that's oh,
when
wow.
you see my dad was like, you wouldn't have thought that the way he would coach me and tell me stuff. Like people would have thought, man, my dad got hurt getting ready to go play college or something. Like that's how my dad looked and stuff. And my dad
Right,
literally just told me, he's like, you just gotta have you put your all into it. Nobody's gonna stop you.
right,
Nobody's gonna stop you. Because I was really the athlete of my family. Like honestly, I still probably am one of the top athletes out of all my family members.
that's
Um,
good.
it's just because I literally just I'm so competitive and stuff, and I think that's one reason why I've gotten really well with this podcast thing is because I put my all into it. Like I
Right,
focus. If I'm focused on something, it is what's going to be my undivided attention. Whatever I'm doing, it is what my focus is. And one thing that used to really drive me nuts if someone tried to tell me I can't do something. And one thing I told my coaches a long time ago, and I even messaged one of my coaches recently and told him thank you was he 1 year, like I said, I was pretty popular in basketball. 1 year I sat out. I was on the bench. I didn't start. And I was pissed about it. Like I literally was like, why? Like I did so well for you. Why? Like
right,
what's the reason? And it was just because my head got too held up, too high, and I thought nobody's gonna stop me. And I was so mad at him. I almost quit a couple of times and stuff like that. But it made me realize, hey man, you got stuff to still work on. You don't know everything. You don't have all that mindset of what we're looking at right now. You just could not be that leader.
right.
And I mean, it helped me in ways like it's helped me learn shit's not handed to you. Like literally, I mean, I think that's the best abbreviation you could just put. Shit
No,
is not handed to you, and
nothing is
that's one
handed to
thing.
you.
That's one thing that this generation has got to realize. You got to have hard work to succeed in stuff, regardless what dream you got, what idea you got to put hard work in. It's not gonna just be handed to you, and it's not gonna just be on an app to where you can click it and say, "Hey, I want to be this." Like there's no possible way of this. And I mean, for you to actually go from that level to realizing, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it because I've got so many obstacles in my way right now when it regards my family. I mean, that's my family. I'm not going to sit here and be mad at them about it because that's my family. That they brought me in the world. That's my family.
Right,
And I think sometimes I think that's what and I've noticed in your book too, you kind of resented that a big factor of it because you just like if I had a different family, I could have probably done this. I could have probably really have succeeded in my dream if I had these cleats or something like that. In
right,
your mindset when you had that tryout, you were like, if I had better gear, I could have probably performed better. Like
right.
it's
Yeah,
a lot of what
not
ifs and it just stirs a pot so bad. And I got this effect when I got into wrestling. And when I had to actually retire after 6 years or quit basically, not retire. If I went 10 years, I'll say I retired. But took took a step back basically. But I got so burned out from it and I had so many reasons of hatred to so many different things that was around that bubble. And I blamed everything. I was just like, you know what? And then when I came to the realization, like, it's not all worth it. It's not. Like, literally, it was just not meant for me. Regardless
right.
of what I'm thinking that happened, it's just not meant for me. And I think at the time now, you've came to the realization, like, you know what? I'm okay.
Right.
I'm fine with this. And this is what that book is supposed to be symbolizing is literally it's not the end. It's not the end of the
Right.
world. And that's one thing
Right.
that people got to realize because I've seen so many documentaries on athletes that literally are wanting to just destroy stuff, like literally in their life and stuff like that, just because they're not happy to what it's not handed to them right now, right away, or something like that.
Right.
And
But they were so
people got to
used to
realize,
it being handed to them.
yeah,
They're
it's
so
like you
used
got to realize you have to put in some work. Like, yeah, you could be and I think this is the best catchphrase I've ever heard. You could be the biggest small town favorite, but when you finally get into that pond to realize, hey, you're not that big fish anymore. What are you
to.
gonna do? What are
Right.
you gonna do? And I
Right.
mean, it goes so many different ways. Like I've seen numerous college standouts, all out in college. Or maybe their first 2 years or whatever, get hurt, and then all of a sudden it's just like they don't play the same anymore because you got hurt. And
Right.
because in your mind you're like, oh man, maybe I need to learn how to throw with my other arm or something
Yep.
like that. Like
Become
you got
versatile.
it in your mindset. Like you're hypnotized. Like literally, it's like, oh man, if he hits me again, I could tear my shoulder in 3 different places, like stuff like that. You just got to realize, like, hey man, it's gonna happen. Stick to it. You chose this. Suck it up. Suck it
Yep.
up. Like, I mean, I might get in trouble for this podcast in ways, but you signed on to stuff like that. Suck it up.
You're right.
That's the best way to do it. That's really what it is. I believe football, sports itself, is supposed to build you to have a tough skin.
Yep.
And it prepares you for the military. It prepares you for so many different things of life. I honestly would say sports actually prepares you for life in general. There's gonna be walls in your face, but are you gonna run through them? Are you gonna learn how to just like, I'm not gonna do it today?
Right. Yeah, and not and with my situation, there's a lack of resources and stability. Just a lack of resources and stability coming up, and now things are just totally different. Now these kids, a lot of these kids, everything is supplied for them for football. Here in the city, they get cleats and everything. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not bitter over that at all. I'm actually uh, grateful for that. So kids who are like me can play.
Have a better
They
lifestyle,
actually
yeah.
play. They don't have to
Have a
worry
better
about,
circumstances.
where am I going to get a pair of cleats to play? And that's why a lot of inner city kids will opt to play sports that didn't have as much of a so-called overhead. You pay $10 to get in the basketball league. Football, you got to pay $75 because you got to, buy your helmet,
For the whole equipment, yes.
all the gear. So it's a little more expensive. And nowadays, what I'm seeing is a lot of programs are supplying those resources and those things for the kids, which is great. It gives kids more of an opportunity to go out and participate. Whereas back in my day, in my situation, I didn't have my father uh, in my life as much, and I was separated from my mother at the time, and I had absolutely no uh, type of financial support at all at that time. I'm 16, 17 years old, literally walking up and down the street trying to find jobs, because I'm trying to do everything I can to stay out of the street because I want to play
Mm-hmm.
football that bad.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the sport so bad that I'm ignoring and dodging opportunities to do unsavory things to earn money. You know, I love it that much that I'm trying to stay focused. And
Mm-hmm.
it was hard. It was hard because, like I said, I'm going from uh, like I started playing football in California. I go from California to Chicago, back to Milwaukee, and it's everywhere I'm at. It's the same situation. Only it gets
Mm-hmm.
worse each everywhere I go. So yeah, it was to actually and I used to tell myself this, to actually even complete playing my senior year is like a really, really, it's a big accomplishment to me. Because like I said, I just didn't have that stability. I wasn't able to stay and develop and flourish at one program. I pretty much had to go through the school system and wherever I was at. So yeah, that's one thing I will say though, is just to be able to stick in there through all of my trials and tribulations, and to complete my senior year of football. That's my biggest accomplishment. The goal, the expectations that I set for myself, I didn't meet them. And the one thing that the biggest point I'm trying to make with the book is, you may fail. You're going to fail sometimes in life, but you got to get up and keep going. You can't let that failure weigh down on you. You can't focus too much on that failure. And I realized that through the course of my life, I've been letting that failure kind of ride me down. I've been kind of letting it way too heavy on my head. So yeah, writing the book was therapy. I had to open a lot of wounds. I bare my soul with it. There's some things in there that I actually had to had to revise the book some, because I wanted to keep the integrity of the book as a sports autobiography.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about the things in my life that affected me playing football. There were a lot of other things that I went through, but I didn't want to. It was going too far off the beaten path. I wanted to keep it sports autobiography. So and I think I managed to do that. And
you definitely did. I was amazed by it, because I was like, the way you were just describing, I was like, man, I don't remember that all being in the book. Like, you said some point of views in it, but you actually made it more focused for the sport. Like, you made it on that topic. Like, literally, you had that topic through that whole story. I will give you props on that. So is there a possibility that you might be writing another book about basically the struggles, or is no?
I was talking to my wife about this, and she was saying, it seems like the book is doing pretty good. It seems like you hit a home run on this one. Maybe you should write another one. I'm like, it was so difficult to write this one. It was so difficult to write it because, like I said, I had to jog my memory, and it brought up a lot of things that I'm like, wow, I should have kept that deep in the closet. But I was thinking about revising it and adding some of the chapters that I had to take out.
Okay.
So yeah, I was gonna see. Probably by next year around this time, if he calls for, I may revise it and add the so-called lost chapters that I had to take out.
All right, man. So we gotta explain it. So what's up with the nickname the Tank? Why they give you the nickname the Tank?
Okay, the Tank. Well, originally my nickname is Booby. My father nicknamed me Booby, right? So that's the name I grew up with, and a lot of my friends still call me to this day. The name Tank came from football. Like I said, for some reason, each program, each high school that I went to, that I played at, when I first played at California, the position fullback, I ran pretty hard. It was pretty tough to bring down. So one of the guys nicknamed me Stump. When I get to Chicago, and one day in practice, Coach Poe calls me, "You're a bowling ball. You're just a big black bowling ball. No one can tackle you. You're just a bowling ball." So my nickname was Bowling Ball there. And I get to Marshall, and my coach says, "You're a tank. You run like a tank." And all of a sudden, all my friends, everybody started calling me Tank. My name wasn't Larry.
Seems like you got a different metaphor for every different state.
Every different state, and I mentioned that in the book too. I'm like, everywhere I went, I earned a new nickname.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Hey.
I'm saying, you know, your teammates are the ones that recognize your potential before the coaches do, in my opinion, because they're the ones that have to compete with you. You know, the coaches are often distracted. They're not watching every move all the time.
No.
But the players, they know because they're the ones competing with you, and they know. So one day in practice, my coach nicknamed me Tank, and all of a sudden, my friends, everybody just caught on, and from there on, I'm Coach Tank.
I love it. So, what got you to actually transpire into coach in high school? Because, like how you said, it was hard for you to basically deal with football being over after high school, whatever. I'm sure it had to be hard to actually realize to get that realization going. Hey, I'm not playing anymore. Now I want to be a coach, and in a way, coaches it could be a good and a bad thing because sometimes, like how you just said, coaches want to relive the glory moments in ways. It actually puts a bad burden on them in ways
Right.
too because then they have way more expectation than whatever program they're at. Because I mean, great example. My state right now, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Right.
and we picked up a coach that literally faked a heart attack playing in college, going into the coach the worst team probably in the NFL.
Right.
That was an awesome idea, I guess.
Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer. Well, I basically
It's biting him in his butt right now.
well, you know, after high school, I was bitter. I was upset. Um, and not until my nephew became interested in football, you know, that's pretty much carried my interest in the coaching. He wanted me to train him,
Okay.
and train as I trained him, I realized, hey, I might have some coaching chops here. And I also worked at youth facility, a juvenile delinquent youth facility called St. Charles, and I worked with some adjudicated young men. And we would have these gym blocks where I would take them to the gym, and they would play basketball. And
Okay.
they wanted more of an organized feel to their games, right? So some of the staff, we started actually pairing off teams and coaching them. And they actually responded to that. The kids actually responded to that in a positive way. So I'm like, you know what? Again, ding, ding, ding. Might have some coaching chops. And so then later on, a friend of mine that I played high school ball with ended up coaching a youth at a youth league, and he asked me to come along and coach with him. And even though even though our team didn't win the game, I felt that connection with the kids right away. And that next year, I followed my friend. He got a high school coaching job, and I went along with him. And since then, I've just been enamored with it. I love coaching football, and it's the connection that I have with the kids. The connection I have is awesome, you know. And it's like, you know, I'm
You
getting
don't
older
just have
now.
one kid. You got a whole bunch, a school bus full of kids now.
Man, right. Plenty of them. You know, I still get calls to this day. I got a couple of guys that are playing college ball now. You know, and
Okay.
I'm very proud of them. And it comes full circle for me to see that, and that's what I enjoy now is coaching and helping the kids get to the next level they can. But also the thing that breaks my heart is seeing the kids that tried hard but just didn't get that opportunity. You know, and that always every year that hurts me. You know, I just won a city conference
It's a
championship.
tough pill for sure.
Yeah, I returned. The last 4 years, I was at a Marquette High School. It's one of the prominent high school programs here in Wisconsin, and I came back to my
Hmm.
alma mater this year at Marshall, and yeah, I just
Okay.
we won a city conference championship this year, and it's just each year I tell myself, okay, this may be it, but at the end of the season, it's like I got to come back. These juniors want me back. I got to come back. They're expecting me back.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't break their heart. So yeah, man, it's tough, but
Yeah.
that's what makes me enjoy it, the kids the most.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I love how you use that metaphor because that's how like I feel with wrestling. I mean, when I had to hang the boots up and stuff like that, I was real bad. Like I was depressed. My body was, oh my gosh, I looked like $1,000,000, but good lord,
Right.
my body was broke up. It hurt so bad to sit on the couches sometimes. Like there was one day, and this was one of the real reasons why I had the realization that like, hey, I needed to stop. So like how you said you had a bad past and stuff like that. I had a mom that literally has had herniated disc. Like literally, she's got metal almost damn near all around her neck in ways.
Oh,
So literally, my mom has been having bad neck issues since she was 16 years old. So I've been accustomed to her with neck problems for such a long time. I got my first realization when I took a bump a wrong way. It wasn't wrong. It wasn't bad on the other guy's fault. I mean, whatever. But he was new and stuff like that. So when we did the spot, I should have been a little bit more curious. Like, hey, he might overextend something. I might need to protect myself in a way. But it just happened instantly, so you didn't really know. So
right.
when I landed, I thought I felt fine, whatever. But when I started driving home, I couldn't do this, and
Oh,
I freaked out. And like I'm sitting there, I'm like, what in the world? Like I couldn't even like it was just stiff. It was stiff, and literally it stayed like that for 3 or 4 days, and I was terrified. And I went to the doctor, got it looked at and stuff like that, and then they told me about my concussion thing and said, hey, you've got a good number. And they compared my brain, and I was only like 28. I was 27, and they were like, how old are you? 27. He's like, well, you tell me which one you think is yours. And I was like, they kind of look the same. It was like, exactly. That's the age of a 40-year-old man's brain. And I'm like, you had to say that in front of my wife? You just had to do that?
right.
Well, I I ain't got a choice now. And
Right.
then needless to say, for those 4 days, like it just, I was terrified. And with me working a warehouse, that's affecting my work
Right.
ordeal. Like that's affecting the money that's coming in. I mean, my main income is work, whatever. And I just had to literally just like, I had to. And I was freaking out. And like, I remember my dad even told me, he's like, the rate you were going. I mean, he even said it like a month before that accident even happened. He's like, the rate you're going, you're going to end up like your mom. And I
Wow.
was like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. Like I only
Mm,
had one little knee injury, whatever. I'm fine.
right.
So when that happened, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this. I'm done. And like, when I found out I wasn't going to get the contract I was looking for, and that literally was just at the point I was like, I gotta
Wow.
go. I gotta just ease off. I got my daughter born now. I'm married now. I'm gonna
So you were
focus on
going
my
pro.
family a little bit more.
You were
Huh?
going pro.
Well, I was a professional wrestler, but I was actually trying to go a higher level. And
Okay.
needless to say, it didn't work well. So it was just like
That's
I'm not
cool though. That
wrestling
is
in
cool.
this small area again. So it's like I was at that point. I was just like, nah, it's just not worth it. And I miss it every day. But the one thing I appreciate with these podcasts and stuff, and this is one reason why I got connected with a podcast, is that's how I learned with wrestling and stuff. And I had some guys that I went on the road with, and they would tell me, "Hey, listen to these podcasts. If you listen to these podcasts, you will get a very good outlook of what wrestling is on the
Mhm.
road, wrestling around, all that." And I mean, it helped. I mean, I listened to Bruce Pritchard, I listened to Jim Cornette, I listened to Stone Cold's podcast. That was even funnier. Like, I realized if he can make a podcast, I can do it. I'm fine with that. No problem. Chris
Right.
Jericho one was my favorite just because he hated to talk about wrestling. So he would talk about bands, stuff like that. I'm like, you could do that? Like, you're a wrestler. You should be talking about wrestling. And nah, like he was talking about everything. I was like, I
Right.
like that. And I got in the outlook of, hey, I don't even have to just make a wrestling podcast. I can make a talk about everything podcast.
Right.
And man, it's been an absolute blast. Like I miss it. I mean, dang, I mean, who doesn't? Like I'm pretty sure you wish you could put on pads right now
Yeah.
just to get back out there.
Those
Like it's those
healthy.
moments, man. It's just those moments. Like I you can't go wrong with. Like I've had so much success with wrestling. Like I just got into a new video game that they're up in the works for. So it's been really cool just to be selected for that and just see the appreciation that I've gotten from what I've done in my past. It's just a beautiful thing because obviously it's not just for nothing. Because in the
Right.
mindset, because you're in that machine constantly, you're like, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go do this, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. Like you're not even focused on around what what effect you're bringing out for people. You're
Right.
just seeing as I'm wrestling, I'm wrestling, and when I got to be a fan again of it, it made me appreciate it more. Like how you said you burned out and you didn't like football for a while. I didn't watch anything of wrestling for a year, a whole year. And then when COVID hit, whatever, that's when I started watching wrestling again, which was kind of weird, with no fans in the stands. Like it was just like I didn't want nothing to do with it. I
Right.
absolutely was pissed about it. I was bitter about it. Like I was with this one company for so long and I felt like I got treated completely wrong. Like I felt like all the hard work I put in didn't matter. And I felt like I put too much focus into that one company that made it very limited for me to go more and experience it a lot better. Like how you said with the resources and knowledge and stuff like that to train yourself properly, get you prepared for these training camps and stuff like that. I
Right.
felt that way with some of the stuff that I was doing with wrestling. I felt like I was being held down. I felt like I wasn't getting to my full potential that I knew for a fact I could go to. And when I got to taste it, it was way too late. It was way too late. Which I'm still appreciative of what I got to do, and I'm very appreciative for me to actually still get to travel and do something that I love to do. But
Right.
it sucked. It sucked when I had to end it all because it was just like and now how wrestling is so big now, it's just like, oh man, like
The
I'm
fact
like
that you,
the
the
boots
fact,
are still in the closet.
I mean, right, right. I'm impressed with the fact that you're a pro. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta go to a wrestling school and stuff like that just to get started out, and that's how you really find out if you like this or not.
Right.
You're
Okay.
not making nothing when you're going to these training schools. You're paying that money to get there. So like, oh my gosh, it's like almost a. I think it's. I think a cheap wrestling school. I think is like $700.
Okay.
Um, average you're paying almost 1,200 or something like that. Sometimes they might even do payments for you, but yeah,
Because
they're
you
not
know,
cheap.
wrestling is big in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh
pretty
yeah.
big in Wisconsin. Pro
I
wrestling.
got a friend. I got a friend that wrestles out there right now. I don't know if you go to these independent promotions, but I got a friend. He's called himself the vape guy. He actually comes out there with a vape and he wrestles with it and stuff. And I mean, he just moved out there. I think not even like 3 years ago, or whatever. And
Uh,
he loves it. He loves it out there because
yeah.
now he's gotten himself out there more. And now COVID's slowed down. Now they can wrestle more shows and stuff now. So I'm just glad to see him and everybody that I've seen so far being able to grow with
Right.
independent wrestling and wrestling itself. Like I feel like since COVID, fans appreciate wrestling more because it was the only thing going on that wasn't pre-recorded. Like it
Right.
was what was on TV instantly. So I think people appreciate wrestling because of those now. Because if it weren't for wrestling, I don't think we would have the bubble or the
No.
no fans in the stands, NFL games and college games that we just
Yeah.
encountered and stuff. Which it was different, but like I had friends tell me, like, "Hey man, it's still basketball. It's still football. Like
Yeah.
we're really seeing that they love to play this game now. It's not just hey they're getting paid to play. Like they're playing because they love it now because
Right.
they could literally say, hey, I'll take the pay and I'll just not play this season.
Right.
They all played. So
Right.
I mean that's a big major shout out to all the athletes out there for that because that's a tough
They,
challenge.
they could have been selfish, had preserved my body. They could have been pretty selfish, but yeah, and it kept me going through the quarantine. It kept me going. I'm glad.
How was that? How was that?
Huh?
I'm really curious. How was that to actually see that going into the high school level and stuff like that with the COVID and stuff like that? How was that your first season having to deal with something like that?
Okay, here in Wisconsin, there were there were a few issues. Some
Mm-hmm.
schools some schools had a football season during COVID, and some didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the outer line, the greater metro areas, the suburban areas, they still had sports. They still played sports during that
Okay.
2019 20 year. Whereas the Milwaukee City's programs didn't even have school. So in the outer line
Oh wow.
programs, they were still going to school and playing sports, but Milwaukee completely shut down. They were doing virtual school, no sports. So we had kids, seniors,
Mm-hmm.
2019, 2020, no sports, and virtual
Mm-hmm.
graduations. So their senior years was just garbage, just sad. Sad because they weren't
Yeah.
able to play their sport, and that affected a
That's
lot of
the sad
kids.
part about something like that.
Yeah, and it affected some kids uh, who were trying to go on to the next level, play their respective sports on the next level. Some kids
Mm-hmm.
lost opportunities because they didn't play their junior and senior year. So yeah, this was our first year back in Milwaukee in the city
Mm-hmm.
conference. Uh, this was our first year back for sports, period, since the epidemic. So yeah, for 2019, 2020, it was shut
That's
down,
crazy.
and you can only imagine, how some certain parts of the city were because of that.
Oh
It
yeah,
actually made
I can
things a
only
little rougher
imagine.
in Milwaukee, having these kids with nowhere to go, literally nowhere to go, because the schools are shut down. And basically, what they did was give every kid a computer that couldn't afford one and said virtual class every day. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's and that's it's sad.
I had to do it with my son. We had to do a virtual school with him, and I really was amazed at how detailed like the virtual school was at first. Like I looked at it because my son's special needs and stuff, so he has to really be hands on to learn stuff. So it was just really cool to see. Hey, he could click every little option to see. Hey, this is what it feels like. This is what it smells like. This is the sound that it makes. Like, luckily, my son was only doing like second grade level stuff on
Right,
computer, but still, but it was amazing to see like how in depth
right.
the virtual school was,
You
because I
know,
was against it at first.
my daughter is a teacher. She teaches
Hmm.
in the West Dallas district here, And yeah, one thing I must say, I must commend them because the program, they would have three teachers uh, working simultaneously, uh,
Mm-hmm.
facilitating the virtual programs. So to see them put in that kind of work, it shows they're trying to do what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
only in accordance to what's available to them.
Right.
COVID really hurt Milwaukee. The decisions that MPS had to make as far as the schools being out, we're still reeling from it right now. And
Right.
even this year, we've had a lot of difficulties with COVID where we've had to send the kids, home um, on a few occasions. And even now, if a kid has just one symptom, they get sent home and they can't come back for 14 days.
Wow.
So yeah, it's still even our football team was affected this year as well. Um,
Yeah.
we actually had to postpone a game. No, two games for COVID. We had to postpone two games. We had some kids that contracted it on our team, and then a few weeks later, another team had some cases, and the games were
See,
forfeited.
that's gotta be the scary part. Like literally, like how y'all play around, like y'all play schools all around and stuff like that. And for them to even have one symptom, that just means okay, now y'all played them. Now y'all gotta be gone for 14 days and stuff like that. That's insane, man. That I
Yeah,
had for my second episode of my podcast, I had two twins on, and it was their senior year, and they had to witness their senior year with COVID and stuff like that. And they were both going to go in the military. They were both getting trained in to go in the military. That's what their main focus was. The college, go to college, and the college was going to be covered by the military and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I remember when their senior year started, they were excited, but they were like, "Man, I don't look forward to school." Blah blah blah. But when COVID hit and stuff like that, they're like, man, I can't wait to get back in class. I need to see my friends. I need to
right.
do this. Like, I want my graduation and stuff like that. And I remember when I filmed that episode to them, and I was like, I wish I could have had y'all listen to this. The time that y'all were sitting here saying, I don't want to get up early for school and stuff like that. I'm like, you don't realize stuff until stuff happens to where you can't change nothing.
Right.
Like, I feel so bad for the kids that had to witness their senior year at home because everything else was closed.
Right.
Stores, restaurants, stuff like that, everything was closed. So you're literally at home. And if you're bored, you might occasionally have a video game or stuff like that. That's only in the case of you have power or something
Yeah.
like that. Because guess what? Some places real bad weather's like places like you're living at right now, that could have affected y'all's internet and stuff like that. So literally, y'all are like, "What are we
Yep.
gonna do? Play with our thumbs? Like, what's gonna go on over here? Anybody got
Yeah.
cards?" Like, I've noticed that one thing with COVID, people started getting out of their house more. People started walking around the neighborhood, started being active, and
Yeah.
I've told people numerous times that's all you needed to do from the beginning. That's
Right.
all you needed to do. Like
Right.
everybody's like, "Oh man, we need to take this with shot or whatever to keep my health right." I'm like, no, take care of your health. Like it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, more people don't realize it's so much simpler to take action before it gets worse.
Yeah.
And that's one metaphor I've had. I've seen numerous wrestlers that looked amazing when I was wrestling to look really bad now because they didn't take care of themselves. And then you see wrestlers that were on WWE and stuff, they look like they still could go in the ring right now and wrestle with these new guys. That's because they just realized, hey, I needed to take action early to make sure I don't have these problems in the long run and stuff like that. And it's crazy to see. And one thing I will say that was good about the two seniors that I had on my podcast, they actually got to have a graduation. That was the first time they got to see their whole class was on their graduation day.
Wow.
And sadly, they didn't get to have that many people look at them to go walk on the stage, whatever, but they got to have their graduation. So,
No.
And it was a beautiful thing on that part because actually, apparently, the episode that we did, it actually helped vamp up for them to actually look at high schools and stuff like, hey, let's give them their graduation. The kids miss this. The kids really look out for this. And I actually had a couple of teachers sharing that episode saying, look, this is what it means to these kids and stuff like. So it was really cool to see a community come together for kids to get their graduation day. And I mean, it's so sad because I remember my senior year, I was depressed on not making what I wanted in basketball. But when I realized, like, man, I got it made compared to the kids that didn't get their senior year. I was hooked on one girl, whatever, but like literally, I got more out of that high school year than most of these kids got,
Right.
and it's crazy. And I can only imagine like going through the school process that it is now, having to wear a mask, having to be 6 feet apart and stuff like that. What is that? Like, how's that enjoyable for school nowadays? Like teachers, like it's got to worry them in ways too because they're like, look, I want to care for these kids, but I don't want to get sick and bring that home and stuff like that. So it's like you got to be very cautious and stuff. And it's really sad, but I really think everything's starting to get back to what we used to be. I mean, obviously, I don't think we'll ever be fully back, but I feel like we're at that point now. It's just like, you know what, COVID's here, but we're not going to let it destroy us.
Yeah, it definitely makes you appreciate the smaller things in life. You know, it definitely makes you appreciate the smaller things. It's, you know, I don't want to get too political or anything like that, but
No.
quarantine from a virus beats quarantine from a nuclear weapon. You know,
Exactly.
so, you got a lot
Exactly.
of things to worry about in this world today, and it's like, wow.
Oh man. This is the focus we got. Like, oh
Right.
my gosh, oh my lord, I could go on about it. It's crazy in so many ways, but it's just like this is what we got. And
Right.
that's basically it. And
Right.
it's basically what they do. You know, like, hey, this is what we're doing. You like it or not, but it's gonna happen. That's how it is. But Larry, if anybody has not read your book or anything like that, how would you get them to actually want to be invested to read your novel? What would you be able to tell them to make them really want to go buy your book?
Well, I would probably tell them, first of all, if you're a football fan, you would love this book. Because one thing I do in detail, I don't just talk about my personal situations off the field. I talk about my personal situations on the field.
On the field, yeah.
You know, I talk about interactions and competition and my thoughts. And I tell certain stories of things that happen on the field. I think that excuse me, that in itself should be pretty interesting to people. It's really I think I really took my time writing this book, and it's a really well written book. You know, I went into great detail to discuss what I discussed. I went in great detail to pretty much express certain things that I think could be inspirational to people, especially younger athletes.
Absolutely.
I think the book is inspirational. I think it's a great story of determination and resiliency.
Plus, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 96 pages. Literally 96 pages. If you see the result.
10 chapters. 10 chapters. 10 chapters. It's a short read, but it's a great read. And
it is very good.
I kind of bare my soul, you know. I've had some people say, hey, I wouldn't have mentioned some of the things you mentioned in the book. I'm like, but it's truth, and it all coincides with the story. You know, it's the link. You know, everything links. So yeah, it's. I think it's a very inspirational book, and the title itself, fullback, it's a throwback. You know that the position is not extinct in damn near extinct in football now, and I miss playing the position, and I miss seeing the position being played in football. And hey, I will
Oh,
always
man.
be a fullback.
That- oh man, it's not depending on what your back looks like either, ladies and gentlemen. If anybody questions that, there's an inside joke to that. But Larry, I appreciate you doing this, man. Is there any last shout outs you want to do? Guys, I highly recommend this book. It was a wonderful novel. Um, like he said, if you're a fan of football, you will love it. I mean, there are so many pages in this book that I read. I could literally have a visual of reminding of when I played the game
Right.
and reminding of how the communication I did with my teammates and stuff like that. So it was a beautiful book.
Appreciate
And
it.
like I said, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that long. It's perfect
Appreciate
level for anybody. I mean, honestly, grade level wise, you can read that at any level. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful novel. And I mean, he got
it.
my vote for sure. I absolutely enjoyed that book. That's why I
I
asked you if
appreciate
you're
it.
going to write another one because I don't think you should stop. I really think you should keep going because you've got a very good gift. I maybe it's just because you put so much investment into that book. I don't know. You never know until you try in ways, but I really, really would look forward to a next novel
You know,
if you do make one.
very inspirational. And a lot of people are telling me the same thing. And you know, yeah, I was just so relieved to finish it because I actually wrote the book by hand. I started writing the book out as a journal,
I remember you
and,
telling me that. Yeah.
and as I wrote, I completed the book handwritten, and then I went ahead and I typed it out uh, uh, chapter per chapter. And
Mhm.
yeah, you know, I'm thinking about it now, and I was thinking about maybe I can write a book about the coaching career. But it's available
He's got his
now.
pen. He's got his pen and journal ready to go.
It's available on Amazon, Kindle, and Lulu. So yeah, I was once again. It's
Also, guys, we will have the link below the episode. We will have the link below the episode so you can check it out. Highly recommend. This book is a great, great novel, guys. If you love the game, even if you're not a fan of football, I really highly recommend this book. I mean,
appreciate it.
ladies, I know you want to have that communication with your loved one, your significant other. This book can help you learn the details of football. Give an example, somebody that's married to me. That's all I'm saying. I might get put in the doghouse after this episode, but you know what? Whatever. But Larry, I appreciate you doing this, man. I want you to do any last minute plugs or shout outs do you want to do?
Oh, just a shout out to Milwaukee Marshall High School football team, Milwaukee City champs. Um, Shout out to my wife. And once again, I want to thank everybody for uh, at least giving me an opportunity to present this book to you. Um, it's available on Amazon, Kindle, and Lulu. And yeah, check it out. It'll make a great holiday gift.
There you go. Larry, I appreciate you doing this, man. I hope you have a great,
Hey,
great rest of your day.
appreciate you, Marlon. Thanks
Thank
for
you, sir.
having me. It's been fun. Hey, and hopefully I can come back with another book.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, there we go. Like I said, you never know, man. Well, all right,
Right.
man. I have a good one.
You too. Take care.